We have some news from the NHL waiver wire and a couple of signings discussed today and another injury. We'll get on to all the latest news coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. Now, as I mentioned, we have a variety of things to discuss. First up, news from the NHL waiver wire. The Toronto Maple Leafs have another forward that they've placed on waivers, and that's Travis Boyd, who of course is on a one-year contract at league minimum. So far this year, he has 3 goals, 5 assists for 8 points. He had a good stretch, in my opinion, at one point where it looked like he was going to be a regular part of that fourth line. They've really juggled around their bottom 6 a lot this year, sometimes due to the play of the players, and some of it's been due to injury, a little bit of a necessity in some cases, but certainly Kyle Dubas is still looking for that exact, construction of the bottom 6, 3rd, and 4th line that he wants heading into the playoffs. Been a lot of talk about him wanting to trade for a forward going into the playoffs as well, so it's going to be interesting to see if they lose Travis Boyd, how they will react to that, because certainly I would assume that he's probably been involved in trade talks, along with a guy like Jimmy Vesey, who they just lost on waivers. I would assume before taking a chance of losing them that they would have considered talking about trading them because they lost Vesey to Vancouver. If they lose Boyd as well, that's certainly not a huge blow by any means, but at the same time, it does cut into their depth and eliminate some options. I mean, mainly here, what they're looking to do is create some roster flexibility. It also helps with their salary cap situation a little bit as well. The more players they can get onto the taxi squad, it just makes things more flexible and allows them to change the lineup when necessary and get more players in and out. So certainly, not that they're looking to lose players, but it comes with the territory that it's certainly a risk that they're taking on by placing them on waivers. So I guess we'll find out at noon Eastern time tomorrow if Travis Boyd is still a Toronto Maple Leaf or if he ends up heading somewhere else. To be honest, I can see a situation where another team would put in a claim on him. Like I said, he's got a great contract, short term, no long-term commitment, league minimum salary. He's, we've got a decent amount of NHL experience, has 3 goals, 5 assists this year, which is a lot more than a lot of fourth liners can say. So I can see a lot of teams looking for an upgrade. So I won't be shocked if he's claimed. But again, maybe the Leafs will get lucky, he'll clear, and we'll see what happens. But we'll have to see how they adjust things if he indeed does leave town. Now, as I mentioned, we also have a couple of signings and an injury here. First up, the injury news. Rangers defenseman Jack Johnson is done for the year. He will not be able to be fully recovered until about June or July after having sports hernia surgery. So I'm sure there's a lot of Rangers fans out there. I know there weren't big fans of Johnson or big fans of the signing after he was bought out from the Penguins contract. So I don't think there'll be too many fans upset over that. But at the same time, you never want to wish any ill will on anybody. And at least he will make a full recovery and be looking to continue playing next year once he recovers by the summertime. So we'll see here. But Johnson, his season is over. Now, when it comes to the signings today, we have Matt Roy signed himself a 3-year contract with the Los Angeles Kings. His average annual value works out to be $3.15 million. So obviously, Roy is having himself another decent year. He's kind of between over the last probably 2 years, has worked himself into being a pretty consistent and important piece in their top 4 of their blue line. So certainly that contract is going to accomplish a few things and probably really increase the odds, of course, that he gets protected in the expansion draft. Obviously, the Kings see him as an important piece of their future. So obviously, that's good for that aspect of things for himself to stay in Los Angeles. It's a decent contract as well, good pay raise. So like I said, he's had some solid, decent play there. I know they value him a lot as a pretty decent top 4 guy. So good contract extension there. And then Trevor Van Riemsdyk also has signed a 2-year contract extension with the Washington Capitals. His average annual value is a little bit less, obviously only at $950,000. Of course, Van Riemsdyk's only played in 9 games so far this season, but the Capitals, of course, like many teams, are making some moves here to make sure they have the right number of players exposed for the expansion draft, to preparing for before and after. They have to make sure they have a certain number of players with a certain level of experience that they can expose, and then they got to kind of predict who they think they're going to lose and be prepared to kind of move on with life without them afterwards. So having a guy like Van Riemsdyk around who's got a decent amount of experience on a fairly cheap contract will do a couple of things. Like I said, it could entice Seattle and maybe take him in the draft, and if not, it gives them another value. It gives them another veteran defenseman on a 2-year deal on fairly cheap money. So certainly decent value there, no matter what happens when all is said and done. So certainly a good little flurry of news there earlier today. We'll be back later with another video as well, so stay tuned for that, and we'll get you all caught up on the rest of the NHL news and goings-on as we get closer to the NHL trade deadline. So let me know your thoughts on these moves, potential moves. Will Travis Boyd be claimed? Give me your thoughts down in the comments on who might be a good team to put in a claim to take the Leafs winger. We'll discuss further in the comments, and I'll catch you all next time.